Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Slicey Boy Saturday here on the Hot Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm as always your host here, the Hot Patriot, and for today's episode, we're going to talk about a fixed blade and three folding knives that are all under 25. Some of them are under 20. I also do want to talk about SDOKEDC and how they need to fix their quality control for today, because the knife that I was sent from them recently, I don't know what happened to it, but it is not what was advertised. Specifically, going to the Amazon page for the knife in question, this is what is advertised that I was supposed to be getting right here. So, we all know they love to do their little cocaine brick. Here's what it is when they ship these things. But what I actually ended up with, and I'm not sure if it was like a bad heat treat or if it was like some weird patina ing or what exactly it was, because what I ended up getting, first off, pulling the knife out here, when you look at the micarta handles, there is like some weird, like, it's almost like they fucked up the like handle material or something there. Like it's got like scratch or something, and I don't think it was in shipping. I think it was probably at the factory. But then the blade itself, as you can see, has some really weird markings on both sides. And I have no idea what that's from. But it is definitely not what it was supposed to be. The only thing I could think is like this was what was actually packed around it. So I'm almost wondering if it, like, if they heat treated it and then they just put it in hot and it just kind of warped around the like oil and everything else that was in a little baggie with it. Like that might be the issue. I mean, it still cuts really well and it's still a very nice knife, but you know, for almost 25 bucks, like it's kind of a slap in the face, dude. When every other knife I've gotten from these people has not had that issue at all, and is what it is there. But yeah, this one does. So pretty disappointed in that aspect of it, though. That being said, this obviously is DC53 steel. Got some nice little jimping up here. Got some weird little jimping on the actual spine of the blade itself. It's actually probably the weirdest jimping I've ever seen on the knife, too, because it's almost like it's like tire spokes or like car spokes or something like that, almost, in like consistency there. This is the only thing I've ever had with this kind of, like every other blade I've got from them that had like any kind of jumping on it was like a different kind of stuff. So this feels more like it's not as aggressive, I guess is what I'd say, to where it might cut you. It's just like really smooth edge. But like I said, I don't know what the hell is with the like weird patina markings that don't want to come off. And it's on both sides, obviously. That being said, doing a little cut test here. Which I did last night too. This is very sharp, by the way. You can tell just how yeah. That does not want to go for some reason there. Let me read that just a little bit differently. Yeah, that's like crazy, crazy sharp. So I will give them that though. So it's not all bad, but like I said, it's just kind of seeing the patina marking or whatever that is, very disappointing. But also the fact that like the micarta handles on both sides, specifically on this side, you can tell it's almost like they didn't finish it completely or something. It's like wanting to wear off basically. And then the other side has a little bit of issues there too. So yeah, if I had known it was going to be like that with the knife blade, I would have definitely gotten I would have paid like another $1, honestly, and gotten the like black stone washy kind. So yeah, fairly disappointing on that one. Next up, we have a new company. This is one of the ones that I found through 704 Gear, and it was Roman Centist, I think is how you pronounce it. Camping folding knives. When I got this, it was I want to say 30% off, I believe. Actually, no, come to think of it, I think I bought this my own, actually, now I think about it. Because I was looking through some of the stuff he had as like so-called deals, and I found this one myself as it was then. And I believe this was like 13 or 14 on sale when I got it. And now it's back to 20 again. So it has a nice little interesting package there. And then open it up. You got your knife. And you got your little monogrammed cleaning cloth, which is actually a pretty big cleaning cloth. So not bad at all. Also has a little gelatin packet thing with it there as well. What's interesting about this one, obviously, is it also has a little carabiner clip thing, which is not clipped in very well. It almost looks like you need to like redo that or something there. It's not one to like stay in place or whatever. So, not sure about that one. So, interestingly, this one also has two different jimping pieces on it there. These actually feel very aggressive. And then get your little flipper tab there. Actually, no, I think maybe this was a 704 Gear one, because I think if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the ones he talked about it being like a 3-inch knife or something, or less than 3 inches, and it's like California legal and stuff. So it's not bad. It feels a little small in my hand just because my hand is so big, but it does have a nice little choil thing there you can, you know, fool around with and whatnot. So, and the nice thing obviously is it's got the full liner lock there. So for, you know, if you can get it on sale for 13, 14, I would say get it, or even less potentially. If it's any more than that, I would say don't even bother, because right now at $20, like, there's other stuff on the market that's also D2 that's probably a better quality, honestly. So that being said, nice little bag it comes in, obviously. So moving on to the second to last knife that we have today, which is a, what is this? It is a FFCC D2 blade. This was also, I think, right around 20, or maybe it was like just under that on sale or something then. It's obviously 20 now, though. What's interesting about this one is the jimping inside of it there is very similar to the SDOKEDC. As what do you call it now? Like how it's like smoothed out basically. And then obviously you have this little interesting flipper tab here, which I've never really seen a flipper tab like that before. So it's an interesting little one. I actually wish it was a little bigger than that, to be honest with you, just because my finger is so big. But yeah, this is an interesting little, I would almost consider this to be more of a like fillet knife than anything else. So it's an interesting D2 knife though, for sure. If I was going to take this out into the woods and do stuff with it, it would specifically, the one thing I actually do, actually, yes, now I'm looking at that now, that's why they shaped the little flipper tab like that, so your finger would go directly into it basically, and so you don't cut yourself. So yeah, good design on that one, I guess. Maybe make it just a little bit like longer, if that be the case. But yeah, I could see like filleting a fish with this, or using it like around the campfire if you're doing fishing that day or whatever, just like cut through a fish or something like that you'd be eating, or even like cutting like a steak up or something like that is what it is, because it's almost like a mixture between like a steak knife and like a fillet knife essentially. So this would definitely be one of the ones I would take with me to use, is like that particular category and nothing else. It would be specifically dedicated to either cutting meat, or it would be preparing whatever I'm eating that day, and then, you know, washing it off and then cutting it up and stuff like that would be then. So, but yeah, it's a nice little blade though. Interesting, very interesting design too on it. How it put it down that way. How it's almost like a crazy teardrop. So yeah, I like that one quite a bit actually. And then finally, we got another cool Pard EDC blade, because I think they were on, I believe if I'm not mistaken, when I got this, they were on sale again for right around that $10 mark. They're now $13. I think if you only get the black one is what it is now, because they had black and they had blue handled ones, and I believe this is a blue handled one again. Yep. So this is just under 3 inches. What's nice about this one is it is a axis lock, crossbar lock, whatever you want to call it there, but it is very, very easy to flip out. It has an interesting little, I'm not sure if that'd be more of a sheep's head design or what that is though. The only drawback with these knives, and this is one thing I will call them out on, like even at that price point, the fact that you have a liner that goes right to here, and then this is all just empty space, and there's no liner at all, where you could easily just crush this in your hand if you hold it far enough, or if you hold it firm enough, basically, is the biggest drawback with it. That being said, it's not a bad knife overall. It has its purposes, obviously, and for something that's just a little beater or whatever the case be, you're like, hey, you want to give a kid a crossbar lock, access bar lock, whatever you call it there, for their first knife. Yeah, 10, $12, whatever it is. It ain't bad. We'll do a little cut test on this bad boy. Might not be the best kind of. Let me do another fold here and see if we can't cut through the fold. Nah, it's pretty shitty out of the box. So we need to do a little bit of a on that one. I'm going to test the other knives too now that I'm thinking about it, because, well, at least this one anyway. Just because I want to see these D2s and see if they cut better or not then. Actually, I'll just get right through that one. Yeah, fuck it, let me get another piece of paper. We'll do this the correct way is what it is. That double cut of paper is what it is. Let's see if this bad boy can cut through that stuff. It can, it just doesn't want to. Yeah, it just wants to kind of be a little bit jacked up. It's a decent cut for sure. It's just, yeah, I think it's the way the paper is what it is. Plus, the being a folder compared to the other one being a fixed blade. It's much easier for fixed blades to cut through stuff like this, but yeah, it's not a bad cut at all though. So let me try the Cool Part EDC again and see if I can't do like a cut this way or whatever then. It does cut, but it's very, very rough. So that's definitely gonna need a little bit of blade maintenance on it, and probably a little bit of sharpness added to it is what it is there. Again, for, you know, like 10-ish bucks, give or take, like, what do you really expect out of the box? Honestly, do I really expect like a razor sharp knife? No, I do not. However, you know, you shouldn't be sending dull knives obviously to people, because that's how people get hurt and they end up, you know, in serious issues and stuff like that, and end up in the emergency room probably because they end up cutting themselves. And that's exactly why you should never fuck with a dull knife. You should always have a sharpener of some kind with you so that you can sharpen up knives, so that way you can actually have a very sharp knife with you. And that's one thing I do recommend to everybody out there, is besides, you know, if you're gonna go out in the woods and do bushcraft stuff or camping or whatever the case be, if you're gonna take a knife out with you and you assume that that knife's gonna dull during your time period out there, make sure to take some kind of a sharpener with you, whether it be a little hand sharpener, like one of those little teeny ones from Walmart that costs like $3 to $5, or whether it be a bigger one from, you know, Amazon or wherever else for that matter. Because the last thing you want is a dull knife when you're trying to either chop wood, cut wood, do any kind of stuff with cooking food, prepping food, etc. there that you're going to need a knife for. The last thing you want is to try and put a dull knife through anything is what it is, dude. And especially when you're, you know, cutting wood, chopping wood, etc. there. You really don't want to have to hurt yourself like that's what it is there. So anyway, that's about it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one short and sweet Christmas edition of Slicey Boy Saturday. I will be back probably next Saturday, but I'm not sure on that one yet. It depends on what I'm doing, because I do have family that I've been talking with about potentially hanging out during Christmas time, and then after that, obviously. It might not be a situation where I can even be here then, is what it is. So I might be here, I might not be here. Or if I am here, I might just chill for the day, is what it is then. And I might just do like maybe a Sunday edition or something then. So what we got here. Any box cutter. Coming access lock, something thinner. Yeah, speaking of razor blades, I don't know if you guys heard about that one. There was some crazy woman in Lewis, Mississippi or something the other day who walked into a Walmart and was literally shoving razor blades into people's bread that they were going to buy. Like it was like little packs of like, I forget what they're called, but it's almost like sandwich loaf stuff, or essentially where there's like little, like individual like bun things or whatever. And I guess she was like shoving into that stuff that it was. So, but yeah, she was insane. I guess they caught her. That was what it is, and thankfully she'll hopefully be going away for a long time now, because obviously that's food tampering, just like some of these other idiots that are doing the DoorDash stuff now. So yeah, hopefully they'll all spend a very Merry Christmas in prison. That's what it is there. So. No, he's still over there. The landlord's in the middle of the process right now. Actually, I got an interesting knock on my door about 10 o'clock this morning from some random people, and I'm like, who the hell are these people? And this woman just like hands me a bag of potatoes and is like, we got a basket for you too. And I'm like, what? And then it turned out it was the people that used to live here. It was stuff that they were supposed to be getting. So I'm going to be taking that over to them here in the next little bit. Because I texted the landlord and found out that they apparently, when they moved out of here, they moved literally the next unit over. And like, I think it's either the one behind or it's like the one across is what it is. So it's not like directly across from me, but it would be like the next one over. That was what it is there. So I'll be delivering that to them in a couple minutes. Here's what it is, along with my own little include, which was obviously a some candy for them and their kids. So, and a nice little note with my number on it and stuff like that, and telling them, hey, if you guys ever need anything, like come over and, you know, give a knock or text me or whatever the case be. So basically saying if this ever happens again, you know, just like text me, essentially is what it is. So, but anyway, so yeah, so they'll be getting their Christmas basket plus a little bit extra on it from my personal included to them. So if I had realized what was going on, I would have just been like, oh no, they live over there is what it is. But not knowing 100% of the time, I ended up having to text the landlord is what it was. So now that I know that they live over there, that's where I'm going to go here in a few minutes. What it is then. So anyway, but you would think too, if you're, you know, expecting to get something from like a charity or whatever the case be, you would like, I don't know, update your fucking address is what it is, and let them know like, hey, we live here now or whatever. because, like I said, like, and I was woken out of a dead sleep this morning when this happened, so I was totally groggy and had no idea what was going on. And yeah, this one was just like, "Oh yeah, we're from the local whatever," and it's like, "Here you go," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, no. Like, it wasn't until after they'd handed me the basket and I realized there was like a name on it that I was like, "Oh, okay, this makes more sense." So, but yeah, it is what it is. It's kind of like Amazon, how they delivered like 3 of my packages to their doorstep is what it was, because they were too stupid to realize that, like, hey, that's not the right address. This is the right address. So, but again, it is what it is. So, but yeah, they'll get a nice little sugar rush from me, is what it is there. So, anyway, but yeah, so hope everybody has a good Christmas here in the next 5 days. I know Trump recently announced that he's now making both Christmas Eve and the day after Christmas as federal holidays now, which I thought was interesting. I actually thought they were federal holidays before this, but you know, it is what it is. I think really what the reason was behind that, obviously, it was to basically make it so that you could have people get it was basically a way to give politicians more holiday pay, is what it is there. And like federal workers, like an extra maybe bonus check or something like that, what it is there, because obviously those both be considered federal holidays now, is what it is. So, you know, in the long run, I'm sure it's just, you know, rich people making themselves richer is what it is. So, but they should be recognized as, you know, those things anyway. So, but yeah, like I said, though, made a couple different good knives today, I think is what it is. I'm like I said though, with this SDOKEDC, like, I'm pretty irritated about that patinang that ended up on it, and I have no idea if I can get that off or not. So, see if I can get that in the thing. Yeah, you can see how like messed up it looks, is what it is there. I shouldn't have any of that on, that's what it is. So, that being said, the blade itself is very nice, and I could definitely see using this as like a like good meat cutter basically in the future. So, when I get onto my aunt's place here in the spring, summertime, and then maybe take this one down too to just use as like a fillet knife on some fish or something like that, if that be the case. So, I may even just carry this around now, if I ever go to like various places where I need like a really sharp knife for like steak or whatever it is there. Go out to like a steakhouse for my birthday or something like that and just have this with me and be like, I don't need your steak knife, I brought my own. So, yeah. But yeah, I do, like I said, I do like the interesting like design of this knife though. And it does feel the hand pretty good too, so. But anyway. That's about it for today though. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. For those interested, this was the CCFFCC. See if I can find the listing here for it real fast. Here we go. Yes, it's called the FF6, I believe is what it is. That's not the right one. Yeah, right there's now $20, and you can get a 10% off at checkout, so it's like 18 essentially. I know it's cheaper than that when I got it earlier, so it would have been like, I think this was like 16 or 14 when I bought it, because it was either a 20% off or 30% off one. So, but yeah, these are 18 on sale right now, is what it is. So, yeah. Well, like I said, I think technically this blade is more of a fillet blade than anything else. So, versus obviously the SDOKEDC is more of a just big old chopper, big old meat chopper. So, anyway, but yeah, on that note though, I'm gonna call it a day. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace out, stay safe. I might do a grandstand this coming week. I'm not sure yet. Tuesday would technically be Festivus. Obviously, Wednesday is Christmas Eve. Thursday is Christmas Day. I doubt I'll do anything during those days. Unless, I might do like a Christmas Eve stream or something like that, maybe, or something. Like just a quick one. Not like a couple hours, but like maybe like 15, 20 minutes or something like that. Maybe is what it'll be. If there's anything that actually goes on during those days. And then obviously Freedom Friday would be the 26th. So we will be back for that then, obviously. Oh, I do want to mention something, even though this is technically not a political stream. I gotta mention this because Vivek is a fucking idiot. He went on a double down retarded tirade last night at AmFest, the Charlie Kirk / Turning Point USA event, and he really just needs to kick it out of this fucking governor's race. Is what it is, dude. And I'm gonna look in the coming week here and spend the next several days basically going through the entire Ohio Revised Code and just trying to figure out if there's a way to actually boot a candidate off that fucking ballot is what it is then, because there isn't, definitely gonna looking at getting that done. That's what it'll be, because this guy has no business being on the fucking ballot for any position of power, especially not the highest position in the state of Ohio, being the governor. So he just needs to fuck off and go back to India is what it is in the story. So anyway, but yeah, that being said, that's where we're at for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see y'all on the next one. Peace out, stay safe, always be carrying, always be vigilant, always make sure that you have a good sharp knife on you at all times, especially if you are doing either hiking, camping, or any kind of bushcraft / backwoods stuff where you are going to need a blade, and God forbid you're in a 27-hour situation where you have to, cut through your own hand or arm, whatever it is, to get loose. You're definitely going to want something sharp and not just some little shitty fucking Swiss Army knife in your pocket. So, and that's where you would want to, obviously, a fixed blade like this bad boy right here, because, if you got to get to the shopping, you got to get to the shopping, bro. Not that it should come to that, but, you never know. You never know. That guy that was, I don't know what that guy's name is, even that was the dude that did the whole hiking backpack trip there is what it was, and ended up getting caught in that boulder, and then ended up spending 27 hours basically cutting through his own arm to get loose. I know James Franco played him in the movie, but I can't remember what the actual guy's name was that was based upon. But yeah, I guarantee that guy, if he had looked back, would have been like, I need a fixed blade. So, or maybe just not gone out alone. That's what it is. That's another reason, by the way, you don't go out alone doing hiking trips and stuff like that. Is to why you should always have a partner with you, just because of the fact you would want to have somebody that could help you out if you end up falling or slipping or whatever the case be. And you're not stuck out there alone, begging for help and then trying to get yourself loose, obviously. So, but yeah. So anyway, that's also a great reason to let people know where you're going to go. And then obviously, if you can't afford it, get one of the distress beacon things is what it is. So anyway, other than that, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, stay safe, stay vigilant, and always be carrying. Later.